my channel, Retro Cars Reborn. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can be up to date with everything that goes on this channel and everything that I'm up to. And if you're a new viewer here, welcome. And please go and check out some of my other videos. Give us a like, comment, do whatever you want. That's what we're here for. So today, here's my super dirty Mazda. We are going to service this bad boy. So let's get straight into it. So here's everything that we are going to be replacing. Air filter, Crossland air filter. I'm quite happy that they sent me a Crossland air filter. Fuel filter as well, Crossland fuel filter. Crossland oil filter. NGK, set of 4 spark plugs. And some new leads. Well, in the description for all this stuff, I bought it all from the same place, and I'll show you exactly where I got it from, and I'll put a link in the description below of where you can get this exact kit from. They put this down as a budget kit. Now I wouldn't class Crossland stuff as budget. I mean, to me Crossland stuff's decent. I mean, I use it in my workplace all the time. I would put that in the car. I'm about to put it in my own car anyway, so I trust Crossland stuff. But yes, this all came from this company right here, Scimitar International. Now, they used to deal with Reliant Scimitars, and then they moved into making stuff for mx5s. And literally, if you order from them in the week, I believe they say on their website before 3 o'clock, you'll get it next day, or 2 days. And literally, this was all next day for me, so I was like so happy with that. But yeah, there's everything we're going to replace. So, oh, actually, there's one more thing I want to say. This company also do these now. Upper wishbone. If your ball joint is gone on the upper wishbones on the front of the Mark 1s, you could only buy the entire wishbone itself, which is like £250 each, or a boot kit to repair it. So if the ball joint was knackered, that was it, you were stuck. 250 quid. So here's my upper ball joint, wishbone ball joint. You can see I've got the ball joint on. As you can see, I'm also still in the process of painting it, and including this one, still stripping it down. But yeah, this company also do a knock-in ball joint for that. Pressing upper ball joint. Isn't that great? And they're like £31 each instead of 250 quid for that combined. It's as easy as you literally put a socket that's the same size as that underneath it, or a piece of scaffolding post or something like that, and hit it with a hammer and it comes straight out. Literally that goes in, knock it in from the underside, and you've got a little split pin to hold it in. And I believe they come with a grease nipple inside the packaging, so you can constantly re-grease that, which is great. So yeah, once all the suspension's done, I'll do a video on that, refitting all that and making that mint. But yeah, there we go then. So there's all your kit, all come from there. Let's just double check how much all that costs. That all came to £48.45 delivered next day. Can't go wrong. Right then, so the first thing I would recommend after us looking at your parts, making sure they're all perfect, is I would always recommend putting an oil cleaner in your engine. Now, because you want to know reasons why? You don't want to be putting fresh, clean oil in a dirty engine. It's just not done. Unless you're regularly changing your oil, you might not need one. Now, I'm saying recommend it, but I'm also going to say I'm going to skip it. on this particular engine, and you're just thinking, wait a minute, you've just told me I recommend it, why am I not doing it? First thing, this engine hasn't been running a long time, any regular intervals, for any period of length either, so the oil that's been going through this engine hasn't been up to scratch. So if there's any debris in there that's collected while it's been sat, it will unlodge it and it could potentially destroy the engine, so I'm going to skip that step. Once I've been using this regularly for a year, 6 months, and I change the oil again, then I will put an oil cleaner for it, but until then I'm going to skip that stage. So the next thing you want to do is start the engine. If you're not putting an oil cleaner in, run it for 15 minutes. Even if you are putting an oil cleaner in, run it for 15 minutes up to a warm temperature, then you can turn it off, then we can change the oil. So again, yeah, just let it run for up to warm temperature, and then you can turn it off, and then we'll get straight into changing the oil. This engine does not sound bad at all. It's only done 88,000 kilometres, nothing at all. There we go, so she's up to operating temperature, so I've turned her off safely to remove the oil. Just on a side note as well, if you're doing it in a garage like me, make sure you open the door, because otherwise you get gassed out like I just did. It was not fun at all. Also, make sure you've got something to put the oil in when you drop it. I've just got a tub, cut the side off, literally will slide underneath and you can drop the oil into it, and then I can drain it out through this hole. Make sure you've got somewhere to dispose of this oil. Don't just go throwing it in a lake or tipping it in a drainer out, because you will get caught. Local tips in the UK will accept, I think and believe it's 5 litres of oil, so literally 1 engine's worth of oil. Again, make sure you got your car up in the air. I mean, I'm privileged enough to have it all the way up in 4s. I mean, you might only be able to get the front up, that's fine. Driving it up some ramps is also okay, but having a car level is the best for getting all the oil out. Another one, make sure you've got something to lie on. I mean, my floor is quite nice, but anything you lie on it, you're going to end up covered in dirt. So I've just got this nice long piece of cardboard, I'm just going to flat out and lie on that. So I will see you underneath this car. So it's not very easy to see underneath here. As you can see, we've got a white container, one sump plug. The sump plug is located on the right hand side underneath. So literally, I've already pre-opened this because it was pretty tight. Open that. First thing you don't want to do while you're in this is when you undo it, is drop this sump plug in that container, as well as you don't want to get burnt by this oil. Very warm indeed. Nice and patient with it. I'm going to hold it in as well as unscrewing it, and you'll feel it go up. There you go. It doesn't look too bad. And you always want to either replace the sump plug completely or just the washer. With that kit that I ordered, the washer came with it, so that was good. Right then, so again, oil now is still draining. Now I'm going to leave the oil to drain while I remove the oil filter, because sometimes once you want to start unscrewing the oil filter, more oil can go into the pan or sump and come out of the bomb. So again, on the right hand side of the car, I've got a nice advantage while doing this. I've got no suspension in the way, no nothing, but people with suspension in the way, this is a difficult one. The oil filter, it's literally in there, look. There it is. One oil filter. Now, you can get your hand on it, but I don't think you'll move it. You need some little grips to get around it, and I will show you that tool in a second. Here's the tool in question. You can buy these for as cheap as a £5 on eBay. Halfords, you can go and buy them from Halfords, the shop, if you wanted to. Totally up to you, but they're absolutely amazing. See, they're angled for getting into tight places, so that's why I used to get the oil filter off. Right, as you can see, got my oil filter off. I was really lucky, really. It turned out that someone had put it on properly, and it was literally hand tight. Now, my car's an import, and this is a Japanese oil filter. So, I would hate to think that it was last serviced when it was in Japan, because I don't know when it was imported, so I don't know how long it's actually been in this country. So that was fun. So yeah, that was all nice and hand tight. I'd love to have said that about the sump plug, which was ridiculously over tight, and you can really tell it was over tight because just look at the dish on that. That is mullered. So yeah, so good job that the new kit comes with a new one, because we're definitely not reusing that. Now, I've seen loads of people do these sort of videos, and they show you, dabbing your hand in the oil, rubbing it on the new seal of the new oil filter. Well, firstly, what you want to do is get your new oil filter out and make sure they're the same. You can see they're pretty identical, got that nice dish in there. Get this awful wrapper off. The joy of wearing latex gloves. Now, there's a really, really easy and simple way to get oil on this filter. Well, it's a little bit taller, could be a modified item, but it's definitely right, definitely the same ball. So yeah, there you go, look, apply oil to seal face, clean seating area, tighten by hand, there you go, tighten by hand, fill with oil to normal level, tighten check. Cannot go wrong. Easiest way to get oil on that seal. Nice and shiny, didn't even have to touch it. You can do if you want. And a little extra bit there. And a nice little smear around. That's it. That's the perfect amount of oil. So right then, I'm now going to go put that on, and then I'll be back with you. There we go, look. One brand new oil filter in there. Nice little top tip for you. Before fitting this oil filter, as it's a white canister one, you can write the date on it. So if you ever forget when it was last serviced, you can always lean underneath, write it in permanent marker, of course, stick the date on there, literally, then you'll never forget. Little top tip for you. There you go, look, just a little comparison on the sump plug, which I believe was over tight. I mean, look at that, it's wedged out. It's been reused about 1,000 times, considering that's what the new one looks like. Ridiculous. Old one. New one. Perfect fit. Look at that. I don't think you need to see me putting the sump plug back in, but it is for 31 newton meters to 41 newton meters. I mean, that's a 10 newton meters in that. It's a massive gap. So I'll go with. Yeah, screw it. We'll do it to 41 newton meters. We'll see how. I mean, that's probably exactly why that one's crushed like it is. But yeah, 41 newton meters. Right, so 41 newton meters actually. It felt alright, 41 newton meters. So yeah, so I'll go with that. And literally, if you're looking for torque settings for it, I literally straight on Google Mark 1 mx5 torque settings, boom, straight thing, first thing up there, all your details. While I'm here, another top tip, you know, full of them today. If you have got an extensive service history for your MX5, or you know you just like to keep receipts and little packs and things and stuff, you can just break down the box that your oil filter came in, literally part number, so you can just slot that in with all your other invoices and whatever. So if you ever forget what, you know, or you're unsure of what oil filter you used last, you've literally always got the part number. I like to do that. I've done it with a couple of other cars I've got, so yeah, just break down the box and stick that in with your service history and all your receipts and stuff. Okay then, so we are now at oil stage. Literally, you've drained it, you've let it drain for that little bit long, you've changed the oil filter, put a bit of lube on the seal, whacked it back on hand tight, torqued your sump plug up. So you're now ready to put the oil in. What's that you're asking? Where do I get the oil from? Well, you can get that from wherever you like. What oil do I put in? You can get oil information from pretty much anywhere. Mazda forum, owners forum, stuff like that. You've got Halford's website, you just put your reg in, it tells you what oil you got. You've got Coma's oil website, you put your reg in, it tells you what oil you need. The best thing about the Coma website is it just tell you about the oil. It'll tell you how much what oil you want, how much. It will tell you your power steering fluid, and again how much. It will also tell you what brake fluid you require. It will also tell you what diff and gearbox oil you require. That information is not always there, but I'm pretty certain that it is for the Mark 1 Mazda MX5. Being an older car with an older engine, this takes 10W40. So I've gone for the Coma 10W40, and I pulled the stickers off because I was going to let you decide whatever you want, but I'm going to tell you what I'm using anyway because I like Coma oil, it's good. Oh yeah, another one, Castrol website, they will tell you what oil goes in. It's very rarely that they get it wrong as well. So there you go, that's for oil. And again, I've got another top tip for you. Full of these today. Now I've got a funnel, but I don't know what I've done with it. So here's your little top tip. If you can't find a funnel, you can't find a plastic bottle, literally just put it in half, boom. Run the car to operating temperature. Again, I'm just going to pull the dipstick, drag around it because you don't want the first reading of it because it will be the oil inside. Swap the back in. Happy with that, it's right on the fill level. There you go. That's your oil and filter service basically done. So what I will do next is the air filter and then the spark plugs and leads. Because while the engine is warm, the spark plugs will come out a lot easier. You reduce the risk of snapping anything. Common sense really. Alright, I'll see you on that in a second.